When privilege met accountability, the Barron Trump versus Jasmine Crockett story. Picture this. It's a Wednesday afternoon in Tempe, Arizona. A small college roundtable at Arizona State University is being live-streamed. Nothing major, just 5 students and a moderator discussing Gen Z voices in American politics. Most people are scrolling past it. But in 26 seconds, everything was about to change. Sitting quietly in a navy polo and jeans was Barron Trump, 19 years old, reserved, barely speaking for the first 30 minutes. The conversation was typical college stuff: student loans, local elections, voter apathy. Then the moderator dropped a question that would ignite a national firestorm. Who's someone in Congress right now that you believe doesn't deserve their seat? Barron tilted his head, rubbed his hands together, and took a breath. What came next will be heard by millions. Honestly, Jasmine Crockett. I don't think she's qualified. I think she's where she is because of identity politics. The room didn't gasp, it paused. A student named Tyson muttered "damn" under his breath. When pressed to clarify, Barron doubled down. She's loud, reactive, doesn't speak like someone who understands legislation. If a background didn't check certain boxes, I doubt she'd be in Congress. Tyson fired back. You mean she's a black woman with a law degree who defended people in court for years before running for office? That's not a box, that's a resume. Barron stayed silent. The moderator quickly moved on, but the damage was done. That night, a student clipped those 26 seconds and posted it on TikTok with a caption: Barron Trump says Rep. Jasmine Crockett isn't qualified. Thoughts? Within hours, 200,000 views. By morning, Twitter, Reddit, Instagram. The internet had chosen its battleground. But here's what made this different from every other viral political moment. What happened next wasn't what anyone expected. While the internet exploded, Jasmine Crockett did something radical. Absolutely nothing. No tweets, no statements, no fiery comeback videos. Complete silence. And that silence, it was deafening. Meanwhile, people started digging into who Jasmine Crockett actually was. What they found didn't match Barron's casual dismissal at all. Born in Waxahachie, Texas, to a school custodian and a medical records clerk, Jasmine earned her way through college on a scholarship, then law school. She became a public defender, taking on the toughest cases: wrongful arrests, police brutality, defending those everyone else overlooked. Her first big case? A 16-year-old falsely accused of stealing a car. She had video proof of his innocence, but no one believed him. Jasmine did. After 3 weeks, the case was dropped. The boy's mother cried in court. Jasmine just packed a bag and walked out, on to the next case. She built her reputation in courtrooms, never asking for special treatment, never backing down. They called her the defender in heels, not because she was flashy, but because she refused to tone herself down for anyone. When she ran for Congress in 2020, she lost narrowly. Instead of retreating, she went back to work, knocking on doors, attending town halls, going to barbershops and laundromats, anywhere people would talk to her. In 2022, she won. As this research spread online, the contrast became impossible to ignore. While Barron spent his teens in private schools with security details, Jasmine spent her 20s defending lives in courtrooms. But still, silence from Jasmine. Then came Sunday morning. Not a press conference or viral video, just a quiet 9-minute interview on a local Dallas news station during their Voices in Leadership segment. The kind of show most people skip while making coffee. But someone clipped it, posted it to Twitter. Within 3 hours, it was everywhere. The anchor asked simply, "How are you processing the remarks made about your qualifications?" Jasmine smiled, not wide, not forced, just enough to show she wasn't rattled.
Well, I've been told I'm unqualified before. Back when I was representing a teenager, no one believed. Back when I ran for office in a district, they said I couldn't win. And back when I showed up to a courtroom in heels with a folder full of facts. She never mentioned Barron's name once. Instead, she talked about the young girls she mentors who ask if they should tone down their voice, their look, their hair just to be heard. I tell them no every time. Not because it's easy, but because silence never gave anyone permission to lead. Then came the line that changed everything. I don't need applause to do my job. I don't need validation from people who've never walked where I've walked. If you want to talk qualifications, ask the people I've stood beside when no one else would. The internet caught fire again, but differently this time. There wasn't outrage, there was respect. People started sharing their own stories of being underestimated. Even some of Barron's followers softened. But the most surprising response came from Congressman Bryce Hollander, a moderate Republican from Arizona who usually criticized progressives. He shared the interview with a simple caption, "This is what grown-up leadership sounds like." Now Barron was the one who looked unfinished, untested, unsure. The longer he stayed silent, the more his silence became its own statement, and not the kind people respected. For 4 days, Barron stayed off social media, hiding at Mar-a-Lago, skipping campus events. His family was divided. His father told him not to apologize. His mother said to ignore the noise. But a longtime family advisor was blunt. You don't need to change your beliefs. You need to own your words. Finally, Barron met with his former ethics professor, Dr. Rhonda Kessler. In a quiet library room, he admitted, "I think I messed up." "Then say so," she replied. "You've got an opportunity here, Barron. Not to fix your image, but to learn. You're 19. You've got time to grow. But people need to see that." On Friday afternoon, Barron posted a simple statement, black text on white background. "Over the past week, I've listened more than I've spoken. What I said about Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett wasn't just wrong, it was unfair. I spoke from a place of opinion, not understanding. I didn't consider her record, her journey, or her work. That's on me. I've had the privilege of being heard even when I haven't earned it. She and many others have had to work harder to be taken seriously. I'm still learning. I'll get things wrong again, but I will listen better and I'll do better." The response wasn't dramatic applause, it was cautious respect. That evening, at a town hall in Texas, someone asked Jasmine, "Do you forgive people who disrespect you?" She paused, then nodded. "Growth doesn't offend me. In fact, I expect it." But the story didn't end with the apology. It sparked something bigger. The following week, Jasmine gave a keynote speech at a youth leadership summit in San Antonio. She hadn't planned to address the controversy, but looking out at hundreds of young faces, something shifted. "When I was your age, I used to shrink myself in every room," she began. "I thought if I spoke too passionately, they'd call me angry. If I asked too many questions, they'd say I was difficult." She paused, scanning the silent audience. "I've been called unqualified before, not once, not twice, but over and over by people who didn't know what I did, who I fought for, or what I sacrificed to be in those rooms. But let me tell you something, when you do the work, when you prepare, when you commit, when you get up every time you're pushed down, you don't owe anyone an explanation. Your record speaks. Your discipline speaks. You don't have to scream for respect, you just have to keep standing." The applause built slowly, carrying real weight. Then she stepped closer to the edge of the stage. "This past week, someone said something about me, and I've said very little in return. Not because I didn't have something to say, but because I've spent too many years proving who I am to let a single comment define it." Still no name, but everyone knew. And to that young person, if you're listening, I don't need an apology. I need you to grow. I need you to pay attention because one day your voice might carry real weight. And I hope when it does, it lifts people instead of shrinking them. The auditorium erupted, not in anger, but in recognition of what she stood for. After the event, a young man approached her. "I never thought I could get into politics. I always felt too." He searched for the word. "Uninvited," she finished. He nodded. She smiled. "Then invite yourself in. Just don't come empty-handed. Bring your work. Bring your questions. Bring your story." Meanwhile, Barron had been quietly changing. He stopped chasing microphones and started attending town halls where he didn't speak, just listened, took notes, learned. When a classmate asked why, he said simply, "Because you can't build character in private if you messed up in public." Months later, in a radio interview, Jasmine was asked if anything good came from the controversy. "I think it reminded people that experience matters," she said. "That titles don't mean you've done the work, and that sometimes the people you overlook are the ones carrying more than you ever realized." Asked if she believed Barron's apology was genuine, she paused. "I think he meant it because he had to live with it. Growth doesn't come from wanting forgiveness. It comes from sitting with your mistake until you understand what it costs someone else." This story wasn't really about Barron Trump or Jasmine Crockett. It was about all of us. In a world of instant outrage and viral wins, this moment stood out because it slowed people down. It forced us to think not just about what was said, but about how we speak, who we listen to, who we dismiss without cause. Some stories end with applause. This one ends with responsibility. Because no matter how big your name is or how small your voice feels, what you say has weight. And how you carry that weight says everything about who you are. So next time it's your turn to speak, ask yourself, will your words build, or will they break? The choice, as always, is yours.